Good afternoon, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Hope everybody's doing great. I just finished getting my workout out of the way, staying focused and motivated, uh, staying active. I'll be getting a lot of rest, uh, but I've been staying active. Like, I do my daily workouts that I do. Hope everybody's is doing great. I know yesterday's life it was a little bit, about a lot of things dealing with certain situations, dealing with physical altercations and stuff like that. Today is almost kind of like the same thing that I was speaking about yesterday. The only thing I have to say, brothers and sisters, is like this: when people want to play games, they come and they come and troll my YouTube channel, and they're playing the games. They don't know what kind of games they're playing with, who they're messing with. That's all I got to say. I believe for those guys that come in there talking about weapons, that you need a weapon to fight. Well, that's not a man at all. That you need a weapon to fight. Uh, no, I even got you in prayer, man, because I ain't saying no names, but when you depend on a weapon to fight a fight, sometimes uh, that's not how it happens. It happens a whole completely different way. But I see that you want to dwell on weapons, just like other people that are known. They just want to dwell on weapons because I guess the weapon makes them think they're man or something of that nature. I'm just here to tell you that it's not always a weapon you're going to fight with. And by saying that, I named the title ICU. I see your works. I see what you're trying to do. And what you're trying to do is what you're trying to do basically is uh, interrupt my feeds and talking about you got a weapon. Who cares what kind of weapon you got? Because I really don't care. It's like this: if you're gonna use it, use it. But just remember one thing: there's always somebody better. There's always somebody better. And I'm kind of feel sorry for you, man, because that's all you talk about. About your weapon, about weapons and weapons and weapons. The only thing I can tell you is this: that I feel that you have a spiritual opening, uh, uh, and that you need to be put under suicide watch, because you're in danger to yourself. I'm not worried about me. You're in danger to yourself. Uh, that I believe you need to be placed in suicide watch, because when you talk about your weapon to everybody, like you're gonna use it or something in some kind of nature or form, to me that's just plain. You have some serious issues, and the person that I'm talking about, he knows what I'm talking about. The only thing I'll call him is Larry. Right? You come interfere in my live feeds, talking about weapons this, weapon that, blah blah blah. It's like first you try to pretend you're a religious person, which you're. To me, if you depend more on your weapon than on Jesus Christ, well then it's more of a man thing for you, right? But I think you're in danger. Honestly, I think I even placed a on my regular uh, profile on Facebook. I put a prayer for you, man, because I kind of worried about you. You always talking about weapons, like it's like the use that I'm thinking that you want to use it is not to harm anybody else, but by you talking about all the time, it seems like to me that you might use it upon yourself. So I got you in prayer, man. You know, I got you in deep prayer, that maybe somebody, your wife, or somebody that cares about you, grabs your weapon and locks it up or hides it somewhere from you, because you're in danger to hurting yourself, because you're always talking about it, man. And if you have a spiritual opening, those Muslim forces can get right through you, man, and that'll be it. You won't be here amongst the living no more. All I'm saying, if you do listen to this video, Larry, I'm worried about you, man. I'm worried about something happening to you. You know, like I said, you come and talk about your weapons all the time. Like you depend on it, you depend on the weapon and all this stuff. You know, I'm worried about you that, you know, if you have the spiritual opening, which I do, I believe you do, that these unseen forces can possess your body, and that'll be the last we hear from you. So I got you in prayer. Uh, for those who know who I'm speaking about, take his weapon away from him. He's in danger to most likely hurting himself with it, because that's all he wants to talk about. You know, especially when he comes to my life feeds and just that's all he wants to talk about. What am I supposed to think? You know. So I got you in prayer, man. Everything's gonna be okay. Breathe in, breathe out. You know, whatever hatred or anger you got towards anybody, you need to let it go, because that's a spiritual opening. You have to let it go. That's a spiritual opening. How you doing, Al Gore? But yes, it's a certain individual that I know that we were friends at one point in time. Uh, we were friends at one point in time, but it's like every night, um, he would text me talking about certain individuals and this and that, like 3, 4 in the morning, and it's like all he was talking was negative stuff, you know. So it's like I didn't want to deal with that, you know, especially at 3, 4 in the morning, you know. So it went from me. I had to remove him from my friends list because he was trying to start problems with other people. He was getting me involved in something that didn't even pertain to me. So it's like I deleted him and a couple of his buddies, you know. And those are the people that have been coming up when I do my life is at nighttime. Whoever here views the life is at night, uh, they've been coming at me in a negative way. But you know, I do feel that this guy is in danger. You know, sometimes when people are suicidal and they carry the weapon, like they're just waiting for somebody to do something, or they to find a reason to use their weapon. You know, they're in danger to themselves, and they're in danger to people around them, because you don't know with a person with a sick mentality like that, that what they're capable of doing. Like I said before, I'm not worried about myself. I'm more worried about him, that because I know how these unseen spirits work, and they'll normally possess a body, possess a host, and if he's got this weapon with him, locked and loaded, they might use it for him to use it against himself. So I'm not saying his last name. I'm saying Larry. I'm worried about you, bud. I really am worried about you. And so you wouldn't talk to me about weapons or nothing like that before when we were buddies. All of a sudden you start talking about weapons and weapons, like you're gonna use something on somebody. You know, it's like I'm worried that if you don't find somebody to use it on, that you're gonna use it on yourself. That's what normally happens when you're fixated with weapons and bullets. That you can use it on somebody, you're gonna use it on yourself. Especially if you have bad intent. You know, the Heavenly Father does protect his children. So, you know, I'm not accepting no negativity. And I definitely ain't scared of you or your weapon that you carry. I'm not. All I'm saying that I know how the Heavenly Father works, and that he can come back at you, man. Karma. I'm just making this video because I'm talking about it right now, because there's been numerous times that that's all you want to bring. You want to come into my lobby. That's all you want to talk about, you know. I mean, I've never had no problem with you, you know. But you're talking about like you're going to use a weapon on somebody. Like I said, I'll take care of a situation accordingly to how it is. You know, people want to talk to me, we'll talk. People want to cut me in a certain way, you know, so be it. We'll handle it however the situation is. I just don't see why you coming into my live feed talking about weapons. You know, what are you trying to imply? Are you trying to imply that you got something against me, or you got beef with me? I mean, what are you trying to imply, man? Uh, because I sure as hell ain't afraid of you or whatever weapon you got. Nah, he keeps on. He keeps on. I think that was like 2 nights ago, man. All he was talking about his weapon. Like, I ain't gonna say it was a threat, but maybe indirectly. But it's like I'm not worried about that guy. I never had a problem with this dude. I mean, shoot. When we were at the Permanent Round Table conference up in Fort Worth, he was staying in the same hotel motel I was staying in. I just don't know why he's so fixated with weapons. I feel that he's spiritually bonded right now, and he's focusing too much on the people that he's hating. And I believe when he's saying something about weapons, is a demon that's in him that's got him bonded because he's got hatred towards certain individuals that is being spiritually bonded by the demons that are within him. And hatred is one of the things it's using. Uh, it's using to have him controlled. The only thing I placed this morning, because of what I seen, what he said, was to put him in prayer. I put him in prayer that if anybody knows him, to try to get his weapon away from him, because I feel that he's in danger to himself. Because I feel that he's suicidal. And man, he needs help. If he's got family that love him, or somebody that cares for him, they need to give this guy some help. He's got some serious issues. How you doing, Oklahoma? Yeah, I'm worried about that guy. I've never. I mean, he's not on my friends list, but when he's sending his cryptic messages about weapons and all this stuff, I'm worried about that. He's going to use it on himself, because that's normally what happens. When somebody has bad intent, if a person is protected but through Jesus Christ, and the person is sending an indirect message that they're going to use a weapon on somebody, and they can use it on the individual. Well, those unseen forces that are around, they'll want somebody to get hurt, right? So most likely, he might use it upon himself. That's what I'm worried. I'm worried for him. That's why I'm keeping him in prayer. For a person that is supposed to be a man of God and all this stuff, talking about your weapon, using your weapon and all this stuff, I'm afraid you might use it on yourself, man. No, not to say nothing, wish nothing bad upon you, but that's what I see, man. That's what I see. I'm keeping you in prayer, brother Larry. Even though I'm on a friends list, just don't want nothing to happen to you, man. You need to get that weapon that you got and lock it up in a safe place, or give it to somebody to put it somewhere where you won't be able to touch it, because I feel spiritually that you're in danger. I wouldn't say something about you if I wasn't led to say something about you spiritually. The Heavenly Father gives everybody a chance to listen, right? To listen and do something about their situation. That's what I feel spiritually this morning. I don't know about the cops getting involved, because something like that happened here in Temple, Texas, where somebody had a weapon and stuff like that, and they got the cops involved, and then the cops went up killing the guy. Instead of taking the weapon away from him, they went up killing him. So sometimes it's not a good idea getting cops involved. Sometimes when it comes down to a spiritual battle, you have to do things spiritually. So I'm extending an olive branch here to Brother Larry to Ask God for forgiveness. Whatever spiritual opening you got, whether it's you got hatred towards somebody, let it go. Ask God for forgiveness for thinking wrong about people, and just let it go. Because if not, those are spiritual openings. You continue to dwell in negativity. Well, negativity is the only things that are going to be there for you. Jesus Christ is not going to be able to assist you spiritually. Because if that's all the works that you're doing, no, I am concerned about you. Yeah, that's one thing, man. It's all fun and games sometimes, where people might say something to you or they troll you and all this stuff. But when it comes down to a life, you know, then all the fun and games are out the window because we can go back and forth, playing games. But when it comes out to seeing something spiritually, the way you be talking about the weapons, that I don't know what situation you're in. If you're unhappy with life, if you're unhappy with life, if you're unhappy with life, or you don't care about life, I don't know, but I'm concerned about you, man. I really am. And like I said, any family that's listening that knows Larry, he needs some help. I'm just letting you all know, man. I can only help those that want to help themselves, you know. I see it all the time, and that's the reason I'm talking about this. Veterans, I've had, met a lot of veterans that have been in those situations where they're tired of life, they want to give up in life, and because they have given up in life. What happens when you have given up your life and you don't want to keep on living? The only thing that's there is the unseen, the negativity of the balance, and it wants to eliminate you quickly. Yeah, so this is what this video is about right now. I normally go live at nighttime, but I just been feeling a certain way, because this guy he used to be my friend, who was always communicating. Then it's like there was a fallout that they had, and I had a I had to remove him from a friends list because he kept on just saying negative things, about people, and I didn't want to get involved with that, or get involved in nobody's business. But I see now that he's taking it to a whole different level where things can happen. God forbid he pull out a weapon on somebody, and the other person has a weapon and is pretty good with a weapon, and something happens to him, because he thinks that the weapon is he's indestructible, you know, or the police see him with a weapon and they pull out the guns on him, and anything can happen. I'm just saying, uh, when you make indirect threats, that's not good. That brings a red flag automatically. Uh, Not to me, because I'm not worried about people threatening me. People threaten me all my life. I'm just worried about you, man. When you're too focused and you're talking about your weapon that most likely, when things don't go your way, that you might grab the weapon and try to use it upon yourself. Like I said, I don't know what you're going through in your life, but I see that you're always talking about the weapon. Like you're going to use the weapon on somebody or something like that, or maybe on yourself. I'm thinking, I'm looking more at yourself than anybody else. Like I said, I don't know your situation. I don't know you're happy, unhappy. Uh, but when you're talking directly, like you got the weapon there to your disposal, well, that's a red flag, man. Me, the only time I had to use a weapon is when I had to, and I wasn't thinking about the weapon. The only time is the maintenance on the weapons, and some TLC, some maintenance on the weapons to make sure that when I used them, they were good to go. But I wasn't always talking about the weapons, right? All I'm saying is, I'm worried about you, man. Yeah, indirect threats or threats, that people make, um, especially when there's a weapon involved or something like that. Uh, there's a balance. There's an unseen balance. I seen it, man. I seen a guy with a weapon one time, and he was threatening some people that were having a little barbecue. As soon as he turns around to walk away, he's got the weapon in his hand. He gets shot. He gets shot in the back, and he's gone from this world. So I've seen people come and go when they think that the weapon, just because they got the weapon, that people are going to fear them because they're indirectly saying they're going to use the weapons in some kind of way, shape, form. Indirect threats. I've seen people carry personal weapons in their holsters, and some of these people that I knew because they're not here no more is because they were gangsters, right? There was another one that always had a wad of money, hundreds of dollar bills. The gangster carried his weapon right here in the holster, in the chest. One day he's flaunting his weapon, and he's laughing. So no, he gets in a predicament, right? Gets in a predicament where he's cornered, and certain individuals just waiting for him to use his weapon so he can utilize what he got on him. And he didn't pull it out of the holster. So then he's like walked away and he said, "Hey, so and so," and he took off. And the individual told him, "Hey," said, "the way you are, the way you think you are, that you're better than everybody else because you're willing and dealing and you got money and you got a weapon. You're gonna run into the wrong person, and when you run into the wrong person, it's gonna be too late." He was laughing, right? Walked away. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, he goes to a hotel where I guess he's gonna make some kind of deal or something, right? He goes in there and never comes out. He goes in there with a weapon in his hand, and that's where he dies, inside that hotel. He didn't take my words of wisdom, right? He laughed about it. That's how that guy passed away. 2 weeks later, after I told him you run into the wrong people and they're gonna think something else about you, and it's gonna be too late. That's exactly what happened to him. So yeah, I ain't concerned with people. They think that just because they have a weapon that can try to threaten somebody or try to use some kind of scare tactic, that the people are going to be afraid of them, when it's not the weapon that makes the person, right? Just like that guy, willing and dealing, thought he was untouchable. 2 weeks later, he's erased from the face of the earth. Erased from the face of the earth. I'm just sharing some stories with y'all of people that thought they were bad, and I didn't I didn't even have to do nothing. They died in their own ways. That's what happens when you live that life. You want to be a thug or wankster, thinking you can threaten people and that nothing's going to happen to you. Well, it happens. Sooner or later, he catches up to you. I'm just sharing the stories, man. It's like I don't know what should pray for the guy or take it seriously. I don't take him seriously. I met the guy uh, like a threat. I mean, he's an old guy already. But it's like this. I'm more concerned that he's going to use that weapon on himself. When you get old, you get senile. Get old and senile. That's what I'm thinking more of. Yeah, I've met a lot of people like that in my life. Wannabes that thought they were invincible, that nobody could do nothing to them. And they're not here no more. They've been gone for for many years. The only thing you can do is give people advice, but they don't want to continue to be the way they are because that's how they were raised, or that's what they were showed. That's the way that they were showed because maybe they were, part of the KKK, skinheads, in which they install that on them when they're young, about racism, about hate, how hate is power. And they think, that's they're the ultimate race. I've met people of all statures, man. And all I can say is this, that when you dwell in something and you're thinking that what you're dwelling with and what you're saying, that you're gonna cause something, some kind of fear to happen to somebody. I'm just here to tell you, man, that what you're dwelling in might hurt you. You might hurt yourself. Somebody said, King Chung Crawler, you ever bite anyone's nose off in a fight? Yeah. Do you really want me to answer that question, man? Do you really want me to answer the question? Look where I've been. I've been in combat. I don't think you want to know the answer to that. I go on for you, Crawler. Have you ever seen a person get cut in half by 65 tons of a moving tank where they pop out of the ground, and as soon as they pop out of the ground, 65 tons hits them right in their sternum area and they get broken in half? Have you ever seen that? That's a lot worse than a nose being bit. Have you ever seen you set up a smoke screen and you're backing up because they tell you to retreat because most of the enemy is gone, and out of that smoke screen you see a lieutenant from that army that's the enemy that comes out of the smoke screen and he's missing an arm and blood is just squirting out of his arm, and you can see the fear in his face where he knows that he's fixing to die because he's losing the blood, the life source out of his body. And he doesn't make it because he loses all the blood because he's missing the arm from right here. I can keep on going. Said you don't want to. I could say a lot more, man, but I don't. This show is not about that tonight. But I've seen a lot of other things. I've been there, done that. So do you honestly think that when somebody says indirectly that they want to use a weapon and all this stuff, or indirectly say, do you have your weapon and all this stuff that they're going to use? So do you think I'm afraid of that after where I've been? Honestly? Look at me. Does it look like I'm scared? I'm just worried about them, because I don't want nobody to start thinking the wrong way that they're coming my ways in a certain way, because then I won't, I'll be forced to do what I have to do. And what I have to do is about surviving, right? I'll survive the enemy. If they come in me as the enemy, I'll overcome them. No problem. All I'm saying is don't worry about him. He hasn't been in Central Texas to know what's around here. He won't make it into here, man. They'll take him out. There's unseen forces here in Central Texas that if he's got a spiritual opening, they'll take him out. I'm telling you. If they've been targeting me for a very long time and I've been fighting spiritually, They see him and it's okay, we're going to use this guy that's coming for him. But then he can do the job because the Heavenly Father's protecting me. They're going to be pissed off. So they got to take somebody, right? It's not going to be me because I'm being spiritually protected by the Heavenly Father. That's what I'm saying. You got to be careful what you wish for. When you make an indirect threat, right? It can come back and bite you in the butt. That's all I'm saying. It's not about it's not about threatening people. It's about what can happen because there's other forces around us in the balance that can make things happen because you live in a spiritual opening. That's why I'm talking this way. I said, like I told y'all before, I have nothing against nobody. I never have. I'm the one that got targeted a long time ago, but this, I'm not worried about the trolling that's been done or the negative things that people said about me. I'm not worried about that. That's little stuff. There's a bigger picture, a broader picture, spiritual picture that's in play right now that I've been trying to warn y'all. I try to warn y'all. Oklahoma, if you're here with a fake profile, I warned you, man. I try to be nice and I try to warn you. You probably thought like, man, this guy's weak. He's a veteran. He's weak. I warned you, said, man, don't be dwelling in negativity. Don't be coming at me in a negative way because certain things can happen, right? I was warning you. You didn't take those words to heed. And look at your situation right now. You got these other guys that are your buddies now, right? And so let's go mess with Abe. Just look at your situation, man. And just tell them you can do the right thing. You can say, you know what, Larry, just leave Abe alone. Look at my situation. So you want to go mess with a guy? He tried to warn me. I'm just saying, I've seen people that with weapons that they're not here no more. Some they've used their own weapon against themselves. The only reason I say this, man, is because I know that there's certain individuals always troll me, troll me from Oklahoma. I'm just being straight up, being truthful, man. I mean, if I bought y'all a 12-pack of beer and got drunk, maybe you understand me better because as sure as hell, I'm trying to talk to you normal and you still don't get it. You still don't get it. You're too concerned and worried about the tithe, about the money that you want going to your group. You want people to be donating money. That's what you're too worried about, man. Instead of worried about the real issues dealing with humanity, which is the spiritual battle that's happening. I'm telling you, they're paying attention to everything. I mean, you do your thing, that's your business. I just say it the way I say it because I'm not about the tithe. Straight up. I'm not about that. I'm about speaking in truth and just saying it how it is. Whoever likes it. Whoever don't like it. I've seen a lot of people in that nature, man, come at me throughout my life. Whether it was a man that came at me with a machete, saying he was going to kill me, and there was a higher power that controlled him, and the word to him was, if he took another step forward, his life on earth was over. Jesus Christ can do that. If he sees no good in somebody anymore, he can take him out of this world. That's all I'm saying. So when I'm saying the things that I'm trying to warn y'all, man, is be careful of what you reap, or what you sow. Be careful, because that's part of the balance, part of karma. If we dwell on negativity will come back at you. Especially the people that you're coming up against don't accept it, and they got Jesus Christ truly Jesus Christ with them, certain things can happen. No, we all been through something in life, but one thing, I've never gone, try, I never like gone and try to ask people for money or anything like that. I worked for it. Even when I was young, I've always worked for my money. Whether it was cutting grass, trimming branches, going to work to help somebody rip a roof off, right? I was always working for my money. Yeah, but even like that, Mama Cat, even like that, it's kind of like when it fails, when they fail, right? Spiritually, their fate is already sealed. Especially if what they wished upon you was death, because it's going to go 7 times fold to the sender. That's all I'm saying. The fate is already sealed. I don't have to do nothing. It's just like nobody has to do nothing. It just happens that way. Because they promise whatever they're believing, that they promise that they're going to do this to this person. When they can't, well, whatever they promised it to is going to be pissed off, and it's going to want some kind of it's going to want the promise from somebody. So it'll go back to one of the members of that cult, right? Somebody within that cult is going to pay for the wrong that they did. It happens that way. Trust me, the Heavenly Father will intervene if somebody's trying to do something wrong in a physical way. Something will happen that whatever they're trying to task out won't work. Whatever it is they're trying to do, it won't work. The Heavenly Father always intervenes, and He'll put a stop to whoever's trying to do something. I know that the sort of individuals from OKC that what they dabble in. I know this because I was shown this. The only thing I can tell you is this: that whatever you're trying to dabble in 3 days ago, was it 3 days ago? Is it never got received here in where I'm at, because I don't accept negativity. So if certain things happen because of what you're dabbling in, is nothing dealing with me. It's dealing with what you all dished out is going to go right back at you. That's all I'm saying. I don't wish bad upon nobody. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like the people wish bad upon themselves. Imagine that. I don't have no bad intent towards nobody, but it's like the people that have the bad intent, they wish something bad towards me, and it goes right back to them. Because, like I said, I'm protected spiritually by the Heavenly Father. So when something happens to them, it's kind of like they did it to themselves. They did it to themselves. Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of drugs. A lot of people on meth. Think about it, man. For people that donate, look at the people you're donating to, man. Pay attention, because some of these people might be on the freaking wrong road, wrong path. That they just want a 20 bucks to buy themselves a freaking rock to hit that pipe. $200, $300, 3, 4 people doing that, it'll go by fast, right? It won't last. Then what they want? More donations, because they need to get that high. That's what that's about. I've seen people that were on that path. When nobody wants to give them no money, what they go to? They go rob. They go steal, break into a car, go break into a home, get some money, take it to the pawn shop, or find somebody, sell it to them cheap, just so they can get the next high. They'll sell you a big ass screen TV, stolen TV for about $100, just so they can get the next high. They'll go rob a Walmart or a Home Depot just to get that high. I don't watch none of that stuff, man. MMA, boxing, it's like a lot of that stuff is set up for entertainment purposes only. Because in a real fight, there's no cage, there's no referees. A real fight, it's a one-on-one battle, so there's no rules. So I don't watch that kind of stuff, because most of that stuff is already set up. They more or less know who's going to win the fight, whether it be boxing, UFCs. It's all staged. These guys, they get really messed up, and they're really not getting paid that much. They're not getting paid the much money that they're supposed to get paid. That they don't get paid. So the one that's making the money is what's that guy, Dana White? He's the one that's robbing all those people. I see Dana White as they say he's the owner of the UFC, but I see him as the instigator. He's kind of like the one instigating the fights. As who's in the middle. I used to know people like that. I'll tell my friends that, well, how come we're fighting? How come we just don't beat the hell out of the guy that instigated the fight? You know what I'm saying? Teach him a lesson, right? Instead of one fighting amongst each other, go after the person that instigating the fight. That's what I'm saying. That they get ripped off by this guy, but Dana White. If there was somebody that I would want to fight from the UFC, would be Dana White. I'll whoop his ass real quick. Because I hate people that use people like that. He's done screwed over a lot of people, man. So it's something, I bet you people will pay for somebody to whoop him, because he's done screwed over a lot of people. But like I said, it's all staged, man. All that's staged. Boxing is staged. I mean, football, baseball, just about everything is staged nowadays, man. It's kind of like set up. They already know who's going to win and everything. Maybe at one point in time, a long time ago, like in the 70s and 60s, you couldn't tell nothing like that. But now, in this year's, man, it's like mainly staged. They use the referees to their advantage. Like, okay, we're gonna make this team win. Let's throw some penalties, stop it from scoring, send them back 20 yards, 30 yards, and the other team will win the game. That's what I see. It's not even worth. It's not the same like back in the day when I was watching football in the 70s and in the early 70s. That was like real football. Now it's like it's not even. They got so many rules in there that can't even touch the quarterback. It's like, come on, man. I know guys that broke their legs trying to tackle the quarterback, got concussions, and now you can't even touch the quarterback. You touch them a little bit, and you go full force with all your speed. What does it? What do they even do the combines of testing how fast they can go? That if they're gonna go tackle the quarterback, they have to slow their speed, or else they'll get a penalty. It's crazy. Yeah, it's like a lot of stuff, man. It's like I said, the sports is like I don't really watch it too much because I used to see like back in the day they had what was it called? Like there used to be one called Strike Force or Strike One. Before it was UFC, it was called something else, and they had a lot of fighters They're like a skinny guy weighing 150 pounds fighting a big guy weighing like 300 and something pounds, like uneven fights. That's the way the UFC was originally made, where guys were fighting their own style, their own technique. Some were boxers, some were martial artists, some were just brawlers, some were wrestlers, and everybody's fighting their own technique against each other. And it didn't matter. There was no divisions of weight. It was just pure brawl. Like, yeah, it could be a guy weighing 150 pounds fighting a big guy that weighs over 400 pounds. That's the way it was. Thank you, Sas Hassan. But yeah, that's how it was. I used to see the fights of like Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvis Hagler. You know, now those guys, that was some real boxing right there, man. Like the gloves, I think the gloves were thinner. They had no padding in them. So these guys, they get cut pretty bad. That's why Sugar Ray's eyes messed up the way it is. But you had uh there was a lot of fighters, the Hands of Stone, well, I can't remember his name, but I think the Mayweathers were fighting back then too. The father of Floyd was a fighter there, and his uncles were fighters there back in that time frame. Robert Duran, Roberto Duran. There you go, Roberto Duran. You had a lot of fighters. And those guys, man, I feel sorry for those guys because those guys really didn't get paid as much like the fighters of nowadays. That they're really not fighting. They're not going toe to toe. Like the rounds from the 70s, man, was full of excitement where these guys are throwing everything they got at each other, trying to finish the fight. And those fights last. I think there were some fights that I remember were like wasn't it more than 12 rounds at one point in time? I can't remember. I think there was at one point in time there were more rounds than 12 rounds. Not unless I might be wrong, but it might have been 12. But all I know is they'll be going at it. You know, like you pay for a fight, you're gonna see a fight. Muhammad Ali. I remember when Muhammad Ali against Foreman when they fought. Freaking Larry Holmes when he fought. He would do a lot of jabs. I think he had beat Muhammad Ali to take his belt, but then after that. I remember when he fought Terry Cobbs. He wasn't even a fighter. He was a martial artist. The one that came out in Missing in Action 2. He came out with Chuck Norris on Missing in Action 2. That guy fought Larry Holmes and lasted all the rounds. He was beat up from the face, but he lasted every single round. His name was Texas Cobb. He was a big guy. He was an actor / knew some martial arts. I think he might have been a veteran. He was a tough guy. Then of course, then Mike Tyson came in. He's the one that I believe he was the one that defeated Larry Holmes. I'm thinking. With Chris Eubanks. Well, I knew some people when I was in the military that they trained with Master IP Man. They trained with Master IP Man. They were my friends, and they had books. They shared their wisdom and knowledge with me for mutual combat or mutual combat. They will wear black, kind of like how Bruce Lee will wear those outfits. But in that time frame, it was Bruce Lee that was teaching everybody else the martial arts. Didn't matter if they were just Chinese. He was teaching everybody. So there was some the guy, he was African American, and he said, "Do you know who Bruce Lee is?" I said, "Yeah." And he was real quiet. He really wouldn't interact with nobody. He knew that I was in a situation was I was fighting a lot of fights. They tried to get him to fight me, but he said he wouldn't fight me because I was his friend. Uh, but that guy right there, he said, "Do you know who IP Man is?" I've never heard of him. I didn't know who IP Man was. He was like, "I want to show you a picture. Just open up this book." Open up the book and you can see IP Man with Bruce Lee. I said, "I'm going to show you a picture." He went like that with a picture, and it was him with IP Man. So IP Man was his master. And he said, "I can't get involved in this, what's going on with you, but I can show you something." He lent me a book. Lent me a book, and that's all it took. Lent me a book. I got whatever I needed out of the book, and the was history. I'm 40-0. But that guy, he was bad, man. I guess I found out that the people that were coming up against me, they were part of the Black Panthers. Uh, they found out that, some way or another that he helped me out. So they sent like 3 guys to go after him. He had gone to, I believe he was in Frankfurt, Germany. 3 big guys from other, should I say, other bases when they had a hit for him, and they told him they were going to beat him up and all this stuff. And he was real calm. He was always calm and relaxed. He always had a peace foundation, a love foundation. But within the calm waters, there was that other side, where he could be a whole different person, but he would do it with being calm. All I know is that he sent 3 people to the hospital that night. Dude, one of the guys got both of his kneecaps caved in. The other ones had broken arms, broken legs. He handled business. Just put it that way. So I've met a lot of people in the military. Sometimes when people cross paths, they cross paths for a reason. At that time that I crossed paths with them, I knew who Bruce Lee was because I watched his movies when I was a kid. And then when I met him and he told me about IP Man, I didn't know IP Man was the one that trained Bruce Lee, or one of his trainers, because Bruce Lee would train into all different kinds of stuff. But that guy had a lot of patience, real calm, real relaxed. He would talk to you in a soft voice, or he would tell you also, "Hey, I can't interfere." He would tell me straight up, say, "Hey, thank you," just for giving me some advice. Even though I knew how to defend myself, I knew martial arts, I knew boxing, and I would train at nighttime. It's like when you cross paths with people, it always helps out when you're going through something. Yeah, that's all I was. I stay calm and relaxed, just like I am right now. That's why I worry about people. I worry about people that want to threaten people and stuff like that, because that's already by itself. You're running like a loose cannon, and when you're running into loose cannon, you're not paying attention to what's around you. Things can happen to you, So when somebody is threatening people or being in direct threats, they think that they're going to scare people, I mean, some people might get scared, but I'm not scared. Where I've been, what I've seen, what I've done. It's just I just worry about them because it's like When you dwell in negative, people don't understand. If you take away the fighting, right? MMA, UFC, boxing, all that, put it to the side. That there's other forces that are working behind that. They're just waiting for a spiritual opening to attack, right? Which is the unseen part of the balance. How many UFC fighters we know that they're in so much pain that they have to do drugs or they have to shoot up with something, some steroids? What was the guy? Jones, something Jones, who was in a fight. You could see the powder in his nose, man. He was high on some stuff. You know, those are spiritual openings. Any kind of testosterone in your body that's a setback. It affects your natural order of the elements that's just within you and around you. Drinking, drugs. When you anger, I knew some boxers. I knew boxers when I was in the military. There was boxers that were in the military. They were professional boxers. Uh, One of the boxers I knew, his name was Rendon from San Antonio. He was a short Mexican guy. He was a professional for a little bit, but he'd always tell me that he had the urge to fight all the time. Like he like always like he's always trying to fight people. Because he's always had the urge because that's you're trained to be a weapon, and you know he had his little license. He had the little thing that they give you because his weapon, his hands are a weapon. Um, I have a boxer that's in my family that's married to my cousin. I don't know if y'all heard of him, El Gallo Negro. You know, he's from the Rio Grande Valley. He came out in that series with Sylvester Stallone Cup, like I don't know how many years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. The Sylvester Stallone had something dealing with boxers. Well, he was the guy that was like 17 years old. No, he's married to my cousin, and him and his brother. His brother still, I think, might still have a belt. I'm not sure, but him and his brother have been doing boxing for a lot of years. He's already up there in age now, like 33, 34. His brother still boxes. I've seen him box a couple of times on Showtime. I have a friend that who boxed for the army. Was a boxer. I knew one that was in my company that was a boxer for the army. Last name was McKinney. I believe he had gone to the Olympics. Yeah, I just stay calm and relax, man. It's like I have nothing against nobody. I just don't know why people would come at me in a negative way when I ain't done nothing to them. Like I said, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth. So when you speaking truth, it's kind of like when you go into prayer and you're praying for somebody, and that person might have a negative attachment on them, unclean spirit, and the unclean spirit doesn't want to let go of that person. So it's going to make the person come at you in a negative way, might throw a punch at you, might growl at you, but you're trying to free the person from that how should I say, that attachment, so you can anger, maintain your love foundation, and keep on praying for them, right? Once you pray and once that unclean spirit leaves a person, as you tie bind and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, you see the person normal, then your job is done. You did not anger, you did it all through a love foundation. you know This is why I do this here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. He used to be called Positive Spiritualist. I think it's got Positive Spiritualist here, also on the title of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. But yeah, it's the one that angers first that normally loses a fight. That's all I can tell you because I've seen it happen time and time again. Because they throw wildly, they come at you without a game plan, and next thing you know, they're winded. They're winded, and that's it. They lose a fight. Yeah, I just speak of of the things that I speak of. You know, I didn't go to the front lines in the Battle of Magenta Ridge and come out alive, but not know nothing. Yeah, I mean, I trained. You know what I knew to fight in combat is from the military, but I already had my own training just in case I had to fight hand to hand combat. You know, and I knew that if I went up in a situation like that, that I would have to do what I have to do because in combat and war, it's a matter of life or death. There's some people that never been in the situation, right? They would understand how it feels when there's time is moving slow and there's things within the balance. You're seeing things within the balance. That's when I first found out. Well, one of the first times that I found out, like, now I'd already been to spiritual battles, but in combat, where it's not just you and the enemy fighting, you're seeing the other forces working behind that, just waiting to collect the soul. No, what I witnessed out there in combat in the Battle of Medina Ridge was the Djinn. He was floating in the sky right there, not too high off the ground, just floating there looking. And then it would enter the soldiers. There were some soldiers that had white flags trying to surrender. It would go through it in spirit form, disembodied form, enter them. Then their demeanor would change, and their face had a smile. They would drop the white flag. They would pick up a weapon on the ground and point, and then boom, the vessel's gone. Then he would jump into another person, into another person, into another person, and every person that jumped, the lives were lost. Do those people had spiritual openings? I believe so. The spiritual openings they had was they had killed some women and children when they invaded Kuwait. So that could have been the spiritual opening that the jinn used to possess them because of the things they had done. That's cool, brother. I've never had to carry nothing like that. Hand to hand. I never. The fights that I fought were, you could say, illegal fights, but dingo fights. But I went 40-0. When I was 19 years old, I fought 40 fights like within 2 months. They were making me find a fight every day. You know, the first three fights that I fought, you know, I defeated the guys, and they were making me fight a fight like Monday through Friday. It was a fight every day. The weekend would pass, and they'll make me fight again. And I said to myself, like, well, how am I going to do it to be able to survive? You know, because you know when you fight like that, you know, of course you let some energy out, and I said, well, the only way I can think of to overcome and to be able to sustain that many fights is to take them out as fast as I could. You know, and that's exactly what it did. 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, till you know my body. You know, I was already in shape, so my body just got used to it. I fought so many different people from different backgrounds. Some from gangs, some knew martial arts, some knew boxing. It's like everybody was coming at me with different techniques, you know. But I overcame everybody that I fought. I was only 19. They bought a guy that was like 6'9". My last fight, this guy, I would see him at the weight room. It was a African American. He said there were Bandingo fights, and this guy, I seen him bench 700 pounds. You know, so they brought that guy towards me, and I said, who's the guy that's been kicking my brothers, beating up all my brothers? You know. So I'm there standing, you know, skinny guy weighing 155 pounds. He's looking at me, said, you know what I'm going to do to you, boy? That's what he told me. I didn't say nothing to him. And he's like, you don't talk. I was just focusing on him, you know, I was focusing and studying him to see. And I noticed that the way he stood, that he was favoring his left side, which to me, I felt that he had an injury there the way he was standing. He said that he was going to grab me, and when he grabbed me, that he was going to break my back, and he was going to leave me paralyzed for the rest of my life. That's what he told me. I ignored him. I just kept on focusing on him. You know, it's like I don't focus on the hype, or I don't focus on the mind games that people try to play. It's just somebody comes at me in a negative way. I don't forget what to say, or I don't forget what to do. So whenever it's time to handle business, I go to the measure however they come at me. So then I asked him a question. I asked him, "Did you say something about my mother?" And he said all kinds of bad things about my mother. So I use that as energy, you know. I didn't get mad. I just used that as energy to know that when I fought him, that whatever I had to do, I was going to do. I noticed that when I fought this guy, he was a big guy. The first punch he threw, he was too slow. He threw a power punch. He was too slow, too much muscle. And I would slap him in the back of the head. And I let him swing so many times, so many power punches he threw at me that I was taking my time with him. You know, he was too slow. Then I seen it after throwing so many powerful punches, he tried to hit me with a double fist and all kinds of things, you know. I finally seen his chest rising and falling while he was getting tired of throwing those power punches. I gave him an opening to throw a punch at me. He swung with everything he had. I would train with immovable objects. So when I hit him in the elbow, I spun all his body. I made his body twist. When I made his body twist, I see the opening. I hit him one time with my phalange at a certain point. Hit him that one time. That was it. It's like cut the circulation to his brain, and his body just dropped to the ground. It's like the oxygen stopped working to the brain, and his body just fell to the ground. That was the last fight that I fought from those Bandingo fights. I was on top of him. I had my knees on his shoulders. I was fixing to work him. But then I said, they pulled me off of him. They're like, you already beat him. You already beat him. That dude was knocked out. I don't know, man, to this day, if the guy was ever normal again after that blow that I gave him. You know, it was one of those blows that can affect somebody for the rest of their life, you know. Especially when it cuts your circulation to the brain, you can have all kinds of difficulties for the rest of your life, you know. Then I mean, what was I supposed to do? This guy said he was gonna grab me and break my back, and I was gonna have a broken back, and I was gonna be in a coma, you know. So I had to fight him to the measure of the threat, in which, you know, the threat was that he was gonna grab me and break my back. So I had to do what I had to do. Yeah, I like to be off the grid, just put it that way. I've never trained for facilities or nothing, but I am, I should say, I never trained like for organizations, but I know what I can do. It's within me. You know, it's just those fights that I fought. You know, I've been in situations where guns been pointed to my head when I was in Germany, and I had to do what I had to do. Imagine somebody talking a different language at you in the middle of the night, and you see that opening, just do what you got to do. You know, it's just a long time ago what I went through. So I was 19 years old, and I was 40-0. Were those guys trained fighters? Someone looked like they knew how to fight. You know, but back then, you know, I'm talking about like 90, 90 in the 90s. You know, they didn't have the stuff they have nowadays. It's different. It was different. There was a lot of underground fights. I had a friend that was in high school still, and he will fight Texas underground fights. His nickname was the Ninja. This guy, his mom died when he was young, so in order for him to make money, he would train his body. He had the dress like a ninja, practice like a ninja. He was very flexible. He could throw some crazy kicks. Like he could throw his foot straight up in the air and knock you out. Hit you with the bottom of his foot right in your chin and knock you out. Um, but yeah, his mother passed away when he was like in seventh grade, and when he was in high school, he started fighting those underground fights. It's different. Nowadays, and some people, because they train a certain way, they think that the training that they're doing, that God, I've seen this. I'm not involved in like anything like dealing with that with the people, how people train nowadays. I did what I had to do when I had to do it. But I still got it within me. I know how to defend myself. I know how to counteract. Find different styles. Uh, but a lot of people, they go and study at a dojo or study with certain people, and they think, well, there's a way when we train. They start getting like an ego, where they think that just because they train with a like a BJ Penn or somebody in that nature, right? That they're bad like that. But they're just going to learn, right? They learn certain things, but they really don't teach them real real combat. I'm talking about not combat in the cage, about real combat, that anything goes. You have to be ready for anything. When it comes down to where there's no referees, no cages. I know people do it for the sport because it's a money or whatever, but that's not what I would do it for. What I know, I would do it because I had to prepare my body just in case I went to combat, which I did. I mean, I give props to the people that do it for the sport, because that's what they want to do. But it's dangerous, when you get blows to the head. For the people that do it for the sport, that I know that there's a lot of people, whether it's in boxing or whatever combat sport, that they have problems right now. When they get blows to the head, that causes all kinds of serious conditions later on in life. That I know that someone regretted it. Look at Muhammad Ali, how he would tremble. Too many blows to the head. And there's a lot of other fighters that are like that. They have the shakes from the blows to the head, messes up their equilibrium. Uh, they start doing other things because they feel pain. They start doing other things they're not supposed to do, drugs, or they want to take the easy way out. You know, what people don't understand is when you fight, that's a spiritual opening. You have to maintain a love foundation, honestly, because anything can happen where something can enter you and you can really hurt somebody in a very bad way. But people do it for a sport. It's the side effects afterwards, right? I remember Chris Eubanks. Yeah, but yes, I'm just talking in general right now, just to whoever's you're viewing, that I don't got nothing against nobody. I never have. When I created this group, it was originally called Positive Spiritualists, in which the group was on Facebook. Then it stopped growing because I started getting targeted by the crypto community. because I was bringing the spiritual aspect into it. So my Facebook had got it permanently deleted, and that group. So I said, what am I supposed to do? So I said, let me recreate another Facebook account and recreate another positive spiritualist, and I have to start from scratch again. So I go starting from scratch again, and it got targeted. The group got targeted, and it stopped growing. So I said, what am I supposed to do? And I said, you know what? Since it's people from the cryptic community targeting me because I'm bringing the spiritual aspect of it, saying that Bigfoots and dogmen and anything that's cryptid is demonic, well, I'm going to create another group. And I named it Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters. So I left the cryptid there because it was a cryptid community that was messing with me, right? So that's why I created Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters and left cryptid on there. After I got my Facebook permanently deleted, all the videos that I had from Elms Grove, Positive Spiritualist got deleted. So here I am, still doing the work. I didn't give up. Here on YouTube, I'm already past 1,000 marker. For those that like what I'm speaking about, that's one thing is never give up. No matter how many people are coming up against you or whatever you're facing, you can do it. It's within you. Don't give up. And if you are going through something and you feel that you're alone, you're never alone. Jesus Christ is with you. All he's waiting for you to do is to call upon him so he can assist you spiritually. You're never alone. He don't want us to give up. He wants us to keep on going forward, to awaken my brothers and sisters. That's why I'm doing this video. And some people are like, man, this veteran pops on here and he starts talking all kinds of stuff. Yeah, because I'm trying to awaken my brothers and sisters. Why do I play Jesus Christ first? Because he's been there for me all throughout my life. In combat, mutual combat, matter of life and death, where I crossed over. He's the one that has blessed me to come back to my vessel, to my body. That's why I make these videos here on Spiritually Cryptid Encounters to let you know that you're never alone. I'm here for you. Even though I might not know you, I'm here. I can listen to whatever you have to say. If you're going through something, I can help you spiritually. There's the works that I do. But in saying that, brothers and sisters, I don't want to keep y'all talking too much. There was supposed to be a quick video, but sometimes when people come, it's meant for somebody. I just want you to know that not to give up in life. I'm not giving up in life, and I'm a veteran. I play Jesus Christ first, and I continue to do the works that I do, regardless of who is coming up against me. But I mean, the things that come up against us in a negative way in life is things that are unseen. They want us to stop doing what we're doing. They want us to give up, because we have a chance to make it into the kingdom of heaven. Since we're children of God, they don't, because they're fallen. So I just don't want you to be deceived by the unseen enemy. You are somebody. Amen. I've seen his miracles, and his miracles are amazing. His blessings are amazing. The spiritual gifts of discernment are amazing, especially when you forgive. Once you forgive, forgiveness is part of love. Once you forgive, there's no more hatred, no more vengeance. There's nothing that the unseen forces can use to come up against you when you forgive, in which it severs any ties from the past, even all the way from the Garden of Eve. They get severed. They have no more jurisdiction over you, in which you're able to move forward in a positive way through a love foundation, forgiveness, through Jesus Christ and the spiritual gift of discernment. He gives you the wisdom and knowledge and blesses you, but also to keep for next of kin to be blessed also. We have to enlighten them spiritually also of how to fight the unseen spiritual war. That's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. The enemy wants you to be angry, have hatred, have vengeance, not forgive people, believe in whatever manifestations it take, because all that is a spiritual opening it can use. The fear factor is a spiritual opening it uses also. That's why they manifest beastly. And what I mean manifest, they're not here in the flesh. They're just a temporary manifestation. So they can look like a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot, Goat Man, whatever name you want to name from your country, cryptid that's there, the Dark Man, the Hat Man, they manifest temporarily for the fear factor. Because if you're fearing it, boom, it's going to attack you. It's just a manifestation, but it's a demon behind it, right? So it's tricking you, but it's tricking you to fear it, but it's really the demon manifesting that way, right? Or the unclean spirit. So that's a spiritual opening. And if you're believing that you're witnessing a Bigfoot or dog man, then it's deceiving you, because if it's the demonic presence that's manifesting to look that way. Well, if you're believing it's real, then it's a spiritual opening because you're actually believing in it. So yes, the spiritual warfare is very real, brothers and sisters. That's why I created this group. You can look all the way down to when I first started this. Before I got on YouTube, I was doing my Facebook, and I would download the videos from Facebook and put them on here. So there's a lot of old videos where you can see like I'm walking out there in the woods and stuff like that. Because I was capturing a lot of imagery of this unseen demonic forces that are around us, where they were manifest. I have some short reels, I have screenshots. The reason I did this to bring spiritual awareness to the people that view the videos, or for the members or spiritual encrypted encounters on Facebook. Y'all can check it out there. I have a lot of pictures there. Where they will come and photobomb me, or not photobomb me, but they will show the presence, because I stand with Jesus Christ and they know what I'm about, so they try to stop me. When they will manifest, sometimes they wouldn't take forms, but they'll move real fast because they're in disembodied form. So they make all kinds of noises, whether they're growling, whether they're talking a different language, where they're speaking like a child, speaking like a woman, speaking like a man, making sounds like chimes, whistling. They were manifesting that nature for distraction, right? But that didn't stop me from doing my lives, and I will maintain my love foundation. All I'm saying is that the spiritual warfare is very real. That this, while we train to fight one another, when it comes down to spiritual warfare, that is not going to matter. I mean, it might matter in the sense that if somebody is being possessed and they come to attack you because a person is being used, that you can defend yourself, which is that's good. But spiritually, we have to fight through Jesus Christ, in which we can give the enemy an opening by being mad at the person. Because sometimes the person that's coming up against you is just that they had a spiritual opening, something entered them to come at you in a negative way. So what you're supposed to do is say a tie-binary rebuke of Jesus Christ's name. You can say, I love you, God bless you, and you'll be able to see a change in that person, because whatever affected the vessel temporarily, through temporary possession, it has left their body and the person becomes normal. So if you ever argue with somebody, or somebody comes at you and start arguing, coming in a bad way, say, God bless you, I love you, and you see their demeanor change. Sometimes with the spiritual gift of discernment, you're able to see the unclean spirit working through them. because He's looking through them to you. You know, they must say something to you that only you might understand. It's something that happened to you a long time ago, but it's not the person that's saying that. It's the unclean spirit that's saying that to you. So, how do you overcome it? Through love. God bless you. I love you. Or it's Todd Byron in Jesus Christ's name. It'll flee. Thank you and good night too, brother. That's all for right now. For whoever is viewing, I might jump on later on. There was just a quick video. Like I said before, I got nothing against nobody. I'm just here as a brother in Christ. For everybody that needs spiritual help, I'm here for y'all. No, I'm just concerned about certain people. The way that they're acting is, it seems like to me they have an unclean spirit. You know, and I'm worried about this individual because at one point in time they were my friends, and I'm worried about the guy because I know what the unseen forces can do, how they work. God bless y'all. This is just a quick live feed. I might do one later on tonight. I'm not sure. It depends on how I feel. But I just want to say thank you to all the people that tune in right now. Thank y'all. And God bless y'all. Yeah. Peace, everybody.